This tasty beef pot roast, attractively garnished and ready to serve, was cooked without defrosting. In other words, just as it came from the freezer, solidly frozen. Actually, cooking any frozen meat is easy. With a pot roast, for example, you brown the meat on both sides in 2 or 3 tablespoons of lard. Then season as desired. Add a small amount of liquid, from 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup. Cover tightly and cook slowly until tender, in this case about 4 hours. Meat also may be defrosted before cooking. The 2 methods most commonly used are 1. In the refrigerator, as we will defrost this beef rib roast, and 2. At room temperature, as we will defrost this sirloin steak. Regardless of the method, frozen meat should always be left wrapped while defrosting. This assures more even defrosting of the meat. This 1-inch sirloin steak required between 2 and 3 hours to defrost at room temperature, compared with approximately 12 hours to defrost in the refrigerator. To broil the steak, place it about 2 inches from the heat, allowing the same broiling time for defrosted steaks as for those which have not been frozen. In broiling frozen steaks, the meat should be farther from the heat, between 4 and 5 inches. But whether defrosted before or during cooking, steak, cooked to suit your own taste, is tops in popularity. These inch-thick beef patties are easy to separate, even though frozen, because of the double thickness of interleaving paper. Frozen patties are broiled just as we broiled the frozen sirloin steak, but they will require slightly less broiling time. A beef rib roast, defrosted in the refrigerator, requires approximately 4 to 6 hours per pound to defrost, as compared with 2 to 3 hours per pound at room temperature. After defrosting, this cut is cooked just as a roast which has not been frozen. Place the roast fat side up on a rack in a shallow pan. Insert the roast meat thermometer into the center of the roast, making sure that it doesn't rest in fat or on bone. When cooking a frozen roast, the thermometer is not inserted until the meat is completely defrosted, usually about halfway through the cooking time. But frozen or unfrozen, when cooking a rib roast, no liquid is added and the meat is cooked uncovered at an oven temperature between 300 and 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Rare, medium, or well done, a juicy beef rib roast is one of America's favorite dishes. Meats which are sometimes floured, such as less tender steaks, pot roasts, or cubes of meat, should be partially defrosted, since flour will not readily adhere to frozen meat. These beef cubes are now ready for browning in a small amount of lard. After browning, liquid is added to just cover the meat. The utensil is covered tightly and the meat is cooked slowly until tender, 2.5 to 3 hours. Vegetables are added, so they will be done by the time the meat is cooked. And the end result, a meal complete, delectable beef stew, a treat the whole family will enjoy.